Country star Reba McEntire told People magazine that she never blamed God for the March 16, 1991 plane crash that resulted in the deaths of her entire band and tour manager, but she's still haunted by it. Here's what happened. The crash made the front page of the San Diego Tribune, with the paper calling it the worst private plane crash in San Diego County since 1979. The twin-engine Hawker Siddeley was headed to Amarillo, Texas, when it collided with the side of Otay Mountain at a height of 4,000 feet. 10 people, everyone on board, died. Manager Jim Hammond, band members Chris Austin, Paula Evans, Terry Jackson, Kurt Capello, Michael Thomas, Anthony Saputo, Joey Saganero, as well as pilot Don Holmes and co-pilot Chris Hollinger. The Los Angeles Times reported that McEntire and her band had performed the night before at a private show for IBM executives. Recalling that the flight took to the skies at 1:45 a.m., it stands to reason that the band finished their Friday gig, packed up, and boarded the plane for a stopover in Texas before continuing to their final destination of Fort Wayne, Indiana. The late-night flight and rushed schedule, while not uncommon for touring musicians, might have contributed to the oversight of the pilots, later cited as one of the probable causes of the crash. In other words, the whole disaster was entirely preventable. At the time of the crash, Police Sergeant Don Fowler told the San Diego Union-Tribune, "There's not a whole lot to see." Federal Aviation Administration spokesperson Ellie Brecky quoted a North Island Naval Air Station controller who said he saw a ball of fire when the small twin-engine plane disappeared from radar. The impact scorched the nearby terrain and left the side of the mountain full of debris. The aircraft's tail section was the largest chunk of the wreckage to remain intact. It flew about 100 yards from the crash site and was large enough for U.S. Border Patrol agents to spot from the air when they went to investigate, along with over 35 local law enforcement officials. Firefighters got to the scene later to put out small fires scattered over the crash site. Medical examiners and FAA officials arrived after dawn because of the rough terrain of the area. There were few details about the bodies of the victims. The Los Angeles Times quoted a San Diego County Medical Examiner's Office official saying none of the bodies could be identified right away because of extensive trauma. Officials stated that body parts were scattered over the mountain just like the remnants of the plane.
All through this crash site, you find personal effects, reminders of the individuals who died here.
The National Transportation Safety Board finally reached a conclusion of the cause of the crash in September 1992, laying the blame on pilot Don Holmes, co-pilot Chris Hollinger, and an unnamed FAA employee. The Los Angeles Times reported that the crash resulted from a variety of factors, including improper planning/decision by the pilot's failure to maintain proper altitude and clearance over mountainous terrain, and the co-pilot's failure to adequately monitor the progress of the flight. Inaccurate information from an FAA flight service specialist at a nearby tower was another factor. No one was familiar with the area's terrain. The co-pilot was unfamiliar with the plane, it was dark, and the aircraft stayed at low altitude. Most critically, the FAA specialist didn't warn the pilots about the mountains in the area. Pilot Don Holmes questioned the specialist's instructions, saying that they would steer the plane into a terminal control area without clearance. Holmes asked, "So I would be better off if I headed northeast and stayed down, say down below 3,000 feet? Do you agree on that?" The specialist replied, "Yeah, sure, that'll be fine." That route took the plane directly into Otay Mountain. When the crash occurred, McEntire was in her hotel in San Diego, possibly asleep. It seems she decided to rest up before catching up to the band in Fort Wayne for their show that Saturday night. McEntire's pilot was at Brownfield Municipal Airport at the time of the accident and called McEntire immediately. The singer left San Diego International Airport sometime between 1 and 2 p.m. that day to head not to Fort Wayne, but to Nashville to be with the relatives of those who died in the crash. There was also a second plane carrying more members of McEntire's tour that took off a mere 3 minutes after the plane that crashed. Those on board that flight only learned about what happened when they stopped in Memphis for fuel. McEntire was very close to those who died. Her spokesperson, Jennifer Bowler, told the Los Angeles Times that losing them was like, quote, losing part of your family.
How did it affect me? It crushed me.
Bowler also told the San Diego Union-Tribune. She is devastated, of course. Many of them had been with her for several years. Many were like family. On March 16, 2020, the 29th anniversary of the crash, McEntire posted a tribute to her lost friends and bandmates on Instagram, writing, "Let's keep finding ways to take care of each other down here on Earth and never take one moment with our loved ones for granted." In 2024, she once again posted a tribute on Instagram and quoted one of her songs, "For My Broken Heart," from the album of the same name released in 1991. She wrote, "I guess the world ain't gonna stop, for my broken heart." Each time McEntire has spoken up about the crash, she has expressed her persistent grief over it. McEntire opened up completely about the tragedy on Oprah's Masterclass in 2012.
I'm sorry. It's been 20 years. It's just like, I don't guess it ever quits hurting.
In 2022, she told People, "I didn't know if I was going to be able to continue, but it showed me how precious life is.